What's going on, guys? Welcome to our beginner guide. These are 5 quick and easy tips for new Tarkov players. Let's get into it. First things first, what you're going to want to do is as soon as you open up your game and you've chosen your character, you've done all that stuff, you are going to want to go and accept your first initial quests. The first group of traders that you have quests for are Prepper and Therapist. You won't have any for any other traders. Once you first start at level 1, you have to complete the first 2 to then unlock the other quests for the other traders. The first task that you're going to need to accept is Debut. This is where you have to kill scavs across the entire Tarkov territory. Now that means that you can go to any map. You can go to Woods, you can go to Reserve, Lighthouse, Customs, Interchange, Shoreline, Factory, it doesn't matter. And as well, you need to hand over 2 MP133 shotguns. These can be found on scavs, essentially. You can find them on scavs, you can find them in gun crates, gun boxes that you search for around, any of the maps, but the easiest way to find them are on dead scavs that you kill. The next task is from Therapist. It's called Shortage, and you need to find 3 Salewas that are found in Raid. Now, the found in Raid icon is a little check mark in the bottom right corner of an item. So, for example, this is a 50-round drum mag for a Vector 9x19. You see how there's no check mark in the bottom right of it? That means that I have then taken this into a raid, or somebody else has taken this in, and I've taken it from them. This is a found in raid item that I brought out of a raid that was actually generated and spawned in the raid. So you'll need to then locate 3 different Salewas to turn into Therapists that are all found in raid to then complete that quest. And that's how you start your journey of quests. Quests are how you essentially level up all of your traders. So from level 1, you will only have access to a certain number of items, certain group of items. There's only a couple different bullets here, a couple different attachments, magazines, guns from Prepper, armor, bag, helmet, very basic stuff. Well, as you do his quests and you earn XP through him, different rewards, you then level him up from 1 to 2, you get more things, and then into 3, you get the picture. That's how you level up your trader, is doing quests. That's the easiest way for you to level up from 1 to max level. And they tell you up at the top right where you're level at, how much rep you have, and how much money you have spent with them. Now you have to reach certain requirements to then level up. You basically have to be a certain level. So for Prepper level 4, max Prepper, I have to be 36. So I have 10 more levels before I can get to max. And then I also have to have 0.50 rep. Now I'm only 0.02 away from 0.50, so that's great. And I also have spent 3.1 million, and I only had to spend 2.3. So we're great. We just have to get to level 36, and by that point, I'll have the rep from doing the tasks. That's how you level up, and that's how you earn more items to then use on your own guns, acquire different bullets and stuff for different guns, because when you start out, you don't start out with much. Now, all of these traders, they start out with very little. You don't have as many meds, you don't have as many food. But as you level up, you then gain access to more and more stuff to then take in to hopefully benefit you in your up and coming raids. Tip number 2 is the hideout. The hideout is a very important utility that everybody should be utilizing, and it gives you so much to then help you in and out of raid. Certain things like upgrading your med station will allow you to then, if you have these basic items, you can craft better heals like IFAKs or Salewas. And back to tip number 1, if you want, you can actually craft Salewas, I believe, at level 1 med station, and you can turn those in, because anything you craft in your hideout is found in raid. So any type of quest from any trader that you need a specific item, you can then craft it, turn it in, and that counts. You don't always have to find everything in raid. Certain things that you craft, everything that you craft in your hideout is technically found in raid. But this is a great option, if you need certain things like blood sets, certain cases from traders like Therapist. If you want a med case at level 2, you get Therapist level 2 and you want a med case, you're going to need these certain barter items. You're going to need 7 blood sets, 7 syringes, a couple Vaseline, and a couple med tools. You can craft some of these things inside of your hideout, and it just makes life so much easier. But you need to be on the lookout for these things while you're in raid. Another thing is the nutrition unit. It's great for being able to craft food. If you're struggling to kind of find food or get out of a raid with a bunch of food that you're trying to stock up in your stash with, you can come in here And if you have some of these other options, you can then craft better food for you to be able to take into raid or just have in your hideout. Lavatory is also another great option. This is a place where you can start building cases. Magazine cases are great. These things actually are super easy to craft. Nuts and bolts, for the most part, aren't that difficult to find. You just need to be searching in the right areas. And as you're searching around on maps, you can find fuel tanks, you can find metal scissors, and when you accumulate all of these things, you can then craft a mag case that only takes up about it's a 2x3 in your stash, but can essentially hold, like, I don't know, somewhere between 20 to 30 different magazines. It kind of just depends on the size of the magazine. So this is a great place to come and help improve your stash, because over time you're going to accumulate a lot of things that are going to fill up your stash. So level up the lavatory, level up everything, because all of these things also give you specific bonuses. So like a current bonus unlocks armor repair kits, reduces armor repair kit costs by 3.18%. Now let's go over to the nutrition unit. Oh, this is great. Current bonus, energy regeneration rate at plus 19 EP an hour. These are things that as you level up, these rest spaces, you know, negative effects removal rate, 10.6%. All of these things in your hideout, as you level them up, will do nothing but help you in a raid while you're PMCing. The hideout is a very, very important utility that you need to focus on. And don't be afraid to put some money into it. Don't be afraid to use some of the items that you have in your stash to then upgrade these things. It will do nothing but help you. It's a great utility. Our third tip is stash storage. Stash storage is very important. Whenever you go into your character, this is your stash. Now, obviously mine looks a little bit different than yours, and that's totally okay. Everybody's looks different. When you first spawn in, you will have a certain number of things that you spawn in with at level 1. You'll have a certain number of backpacks, ammo, magazines, guns, food, meds, all sorts of stuff that you need to then take into your raids, you know, whatever you need to go in as a PMC. The first thing I want to talk about is backpacks. Backpacks are super important and they can be utilized very specifically in a stash. What I mean by that is you can have one backpack here. Inside that backpack is another backpack and another backpack and another backpack. I don't think there is a limit. You can have an unlimited amount of backpacks inside of other backpacks. They just have to fit properly. Another thing is tack rigs, armored tack rigs, regular tack rigs, it doesn't matter. You will then come across all sorts of things that you pull out of either a scav or a PMC raid. And these are things that I desperately need and want to keep, but you don't have a ton of space, especially if you have a standard account. You will have even more limited space. So you need to find unique ways to store items so that you're not clogging up your stash. Another unique tip is something like this. Now, this is something I learned from Dr. Lupo, who is he's a great streamer in general, but a fantastic Tarkov player. And I noticed that he was breaking down his guns just so slightly. He would take off the pistol grip so that instead of it being a 2x1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's a 1x6. It takes up significantly less space and you can stack more weapons. So what he does is he just kind of has a box. At this point, he has a box with all of those attachments. Eventually you can do that. But if you see, I have certain attachments like this pistol grip. I can use this pistol grip, but I don't need to know where this pistol grip is. I just need to store it somewhere. And if you have the workbench level 1 from your hideout, from the last tip, you can right click, hit mod, and you can go and grab it. And look at that, we have a gun ready to go. You don't need to know where things are, but you need to know how to store things properly so that you have access to them, but you don't technically need to know where they are. Another thing are these junk boxes. You are going to accumulate lots of things that you find in raid. A lot of these barter items are things that you need for your hideout to level up, you know, lavatory, workbench, you know, everything in your hideout, things you need to turn into traders that need to be found in raid. All of these barter items are very important and you need to try your best to hang on to them as much as you can. And one way to store them are in these Lucky Scab junk boxes. So that is something that you can purchase at level 1 therapist. You need to make about 1.1 mil and then you can purchase it. So once you actually purchase the junk box, and then start stuffing all that stuff in there and start saving space. Same goes with ammo boxes, med cases, and the Holland whatever lunchbox thing. I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize, but this is where you can store food, you can store water, you know, all sorts of nutrition. So those are very important. Stash storage is a must-have. Our fourth tip is to use your scav. As a PMC, this is all risk and no promise of reward. As a scav, it's no risk and only reward. Whether, even if you die, you didn't risk anything. As a PMC, if you die, you just lost all that armor. If you insured it, you get the possibility of it coming back to you in insurance. But if somebody carries your entire kit out, gone forever. Not gonna see that stuff again. And that's okay. As a scav, you randomly spawn in with a gun, attack rig, potentially a backpack, potentially a large backpack sometimes, armor, you know, headphones, all sorts of stuff, you know, things that you might need for your up and coming PMCs. So it's a great way for new players to then spawn in. You have a little bit of things, maybe it's stuff that you need, like a Taz. A Taz is one of the first skier quests that you need. You need to turn in a found and raid Taz. Boom, I'm about to spawn in with one. That if I get out, I can then go turn that in because it's a found and raid Taz. That's great. A scav is very important. You want to use your scav as much as you possibly can. We're not all like Landmark, who is absolutely amazing at this game, but he doesn't use a scav. He only PMCs because he's just that good at the game. Not all of us are that good at the game. So if you're struggling, I would highly recommend using your scav, and that's also another way to learn the map, which is actually leading us into our last tip. You need to practice on offline raids. Offline raids and scav raids are a great tip to then learn the map. You learn exactly where extracts are, where the spawns are, where stash locations are, where gun crates, weapon crates, duffel bags, jackets, computers, where all things spawn. Offline is a great way to learn a map. And another thing that you should probably do when you first start is if you have a second monitor or your phone, go online, look up a map of wherever you're going into, whether it's it doesn't matter, any of these maps. You can go online and look up a map, and people make very detailed map and show you exactly where extracts are, stash locations, you know, quest items. Sometimes it's you can find anything, but utilize the offline. And you can go in there without any AI. You can go in there and turn on some AI if you want, and you can practice fighting off scavs and get better at the gunplay, because it's not like Call of Duty. It's very different, and you definitely need to learn how the game works, but this is a great option. So with all 5 of those tips, I hope they're super helpful. I plan on doing some more in the future. So if you enjoyed that and that was super helpful, be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. You guys have a great one.